Hello students, welcome to COM 333. This is week 4, and this week we are covering information on oral interpretation analyses, and we're looking at that a little more deeply. If you take a look at the week 4 agenda, you'll see that we are reading chapter 4 of the course text, the chapter titled Performing Drama. You're also reading an article that's called Oral Interpretation Analysis, and you're watching videos on Burke's Dramatism as well as the Nebraska State Speech Championship for 2011, which is an interpretation of a dramatic interpretation. You're also completing weekly review number 4. Your original post is due no later than Friday, with your replies due by Sunday. Your midterm consists of an oral interpretation analysis. You'll be analyzing the topic you have chosen for your oral interpretation performance you're working on, and we'll spend some time going through that this week in our lecture. So what you're required to do for this weekly review is complete a discussion board post of at least 350 words by Friday that defines Burke's dramatism, tells us what the dramatic pentad is, and considers and explains the use of dramatism and social drama in performing dramatic oral interpretations. So we're spending a lot of time looking at some relational and dramatic interpretations and rhetorical and critical studies of drama, specifically from the ideas of Kenneth Burke. So those are the 3 things you'll be doing in that weekly review. Additionally, if you look at the midterm, you're doing an interpretation analysis of your communication artifact. So what you have chosen to do your oral interpretation project on that specific text, you're going to write an analytical essay about it. This is designed to help you fully understand what your piece is about before you get in there and perform your analysis in the coming weeks. Essentially, we are looking for, or I am looking for you to include your rationale that we've already completed of the artifact. Read the attached handout in the agenda on oral interpretation analysis that provides a really good overview of the analysis, editing, and introducing your text for oral interpretation performances. The main things I'm looking for is for you to conduct an internal and external analysis, and that's found within the supplementary reading this week in the attachment. You're also supposed to compare and contrast your artifact to at least one other oral interpretation performance that's similar to what you plan to do. And then you're all going to identify a theory from the course text that is utilized in how you're analyzing your artifact or how you will be performing it. Because remember, an oral interpretation performance is your analysis of the text. It's your interpretation of it. You need to analyze that according to a theory. So perhaps you may think that Burke's dramatism fits, or cultural hegemony, or cultural hermeneutics, or whatever it may be. So it's important for you to consider that. Each chapter we've read of the text thus far includes theory in the beginning of the chapter. So there are theories you have gone through. So look at those. If you're confused at that point, definitely contact me. I'll help you sort through some appropriate communication theories that you can utilize for that particular portion at the midterm. The last thing you'll do is determine the validity of the artifact after your analysis is complete. And to do that, in determining the validity, it's important to look at everything you've written in this analysis, particularly the internal and external analysis and the compare and contrast to another oral interpretation performance, and determine how valid what you're performing is to the ideas of oral interpretation that we've been learning about. So if you're doing a dramatic performance or a prose or whatever it may be, you'll look at that and determine validity there. I want to spend some time looking at external analysis so you have an idea, and internal analysis so you have a good idea of what I'm expecting there. An external analysis for this particular assignment is a level of analysis that integrates the text and outside influences. So it looks at how the text may perform with things outside of the text itself. For example, it can include an examination of the historical period in which the literature or the text you wrote it takes place in. It could include the student performer and integrating their own field of experience within the literature, whatever it may be. So if you've chosen a piece of a text that takes place in a certain time frame, the external analysis is going to compare that and how it fits with the time frame that particular text takes place. If you're performing a song, then you need to look at the time frame or the setting of the song and what they're conveying within that, and look at how it compares with that time period in which the song was released. Things like that. An internal level of analysis provides a level of analysis that incorporates the text and the content absent from any outside influence. So instead, you include a line-by-line dissection of the piece, allowing for more mechanistic understanding of the section. You're looking at it only from the inside. You're asking yourself questions like, who is speaking? To whom is he or she speaking? About what are they speaking about? Where are they speaking? When are they speaking? How are they speaking? Why are they speaking? So on and so forth. Really, a complete internal analysis will allow for you to have a full objective understanding of the text, thereby being able to determine what the author's intent may have been and be able to fully choose your performance type grounded in some text-driven motivations. So external is things that take place outside. What are the real world applications for that, or where does it really take place within a real world setting? And internal is everything that takes place inside it. It's important when you analyze your literature that you make careful editing decisions, establish solid audiences and text relationships within your introductions, and make sure that you really understand how this text takes place internally within itself and externally within society. And so that's really what the point of this entire midterm is for you to spend some time looking at that and seeing where your text fits within society and within itself to be able to fully interpret it accurately. Going through this, it's important to look at now the chapter 4 spends a lot of time on Burke's pentad, or what's also known as dramatism. So this was developed by Kenneth Burke, and it's widely used in the area of rhetorical communication, rhetorical analysis, dramatic interpretations, and critical studies. It's often referred to as a rhetorical communication theory, where you're critically evaluating something from that perspective. Burke really developed this as a critical technique to analyze and interpret text and dramatic performances. There's one foundation concept of this theory, and that is the concept of motive. Burke refers to motive as the reasons why people do the things they do, except in this sense, we are only looking at motive within the context of a communication text. Particularly, he developed this for drama and drama-related text and interpretations and things of that nature. However, it can be applied virtually to a prose, and it can also be applied to a poetry interpretation in the context of this course. What you're looking for is motive behind the author, motive behind the characters, and what is actually the motive of this piece. What is trying to be communicated indirectly from this piece, not the direct communication, the indirect. Dramatism really does consider that all life is drama in the sense of fiction, and that humans will attempt to discover motives by looking for their motivation in action and discourse within any piece of communication. So to do this, Burke utilized and developed his pentad. It's where we look at 5 critical points to determine motive within communication. Oftentimes people view this as a star if you visualize it with act, scene, agent, agency, and purpose as each point of a star. However, it's important to know that the pentad is used in any discourse to disclose and determine what the motive is of that particular piece of communication. Within that, you use the 5 parts. You're going to use act, scene, agency, agent, and purpose. Those 5 areas are how you should be able to determine what the motive is of the particular text. So act asks questions like what happened, what is the action, what's going on, what action, what thoughts. Scene looks at where is the act happening, what is the background situation, how is this within the context of society. Agent looks at who's involved in the action, what are their roles. Agency looks at how do the agents act and what do we mean by act within this particular text. And purpose looks at why do the agents act and what do they want. So when we analyze the text from those 5 perspectives, we are able to determine what the motive is within a text of any type. Burke is often noted by saying, if action, then drama, if drama, then conflict, if conflict, then victimage. And so by those words he lived, and by those words he determined that all communication has some type of motive, and all communication moves through those 5 points of his pentad. So that's where we're at with that. This is also within the course text this week. I just wanted to highlight it. As you take a look at some of the things we're going through, we are reading Chapter 4, Performing Drama. We're reading the oral interpretation analysis artifact analysis article that is attached. After you do that, you're going to watch Kenneth Burke's dramatism lecture, as well as the Nebraska State Speech Championship of Oral Interpretation of Drama, and then you will complete weekly review number 4 and your midterm oral interpretation analysis. If you have any questions, let me know. I am more than willing to work some of those questions out with you, but this should be done earlier in the week, especially when it comes to your midterm. You don't want to get caught at the last minute. Again, I just pray you all have a blessed week, and I look forward to interacting with you.